Although the series predominantly revolves around the misadventures of the titular family, The Simpsons is just as much about the town in which the show is set and the various secondary characters within it. And with more than 30 seasons of the show, the series has introduced viewers to numerous Springfield citizens, as many have come and gone over the run of the series.
Hi everybody!
Some only make a few appearances before disappearing without a trace, while others become immediate fan favorites.
Grease me up, woman!
Okie dokie.
One thing that they all have in common is that they are relatively one-dimensional, with a distinct appearance along with one or two character-defining traits.
Worst episode ever.
One such citizen, who's only made a few appearances in the series but stands out because of his distinct design, coupled with a number of iconic scenes, is Dr. Colossus, Springfield's resident mad scientist and self-proclaimed supervillain who, strangely, seems destined to be forever criminally underappreciated on both the TV series and in real life. Even though Colossus is a rarely seen or heard secondary character, he's featured in a number of iconic episodes of The Simpsons. Colossus first appeared in the 14th episode of the 5th season, Lisa vs. Malibu Stacy, which originally aired in February 1994. In the installment, Lisa meets Malibu Stacy's creator, Stacy Lovell, with who she later develops a doll that's more positive for young girls than Lovell's original creation.
My new doll's much better than Malibu Stacy. Do a newscast about her.
In one scene, Lovell laments her mistakes, such as her numerous marriages, one of which was to Colossus.
Ken, Johnny, Joe, Dr. Colossus.
Colossus's first talking role was in part 2 of Who Shot Mr. Burns, the first episode of the 7th season, which originally aired in September 1995. In the installment, Colossus is locked up in the local police station. After Mr. Burns blocks the sun, and Smithers describes the move as crossing the line into cartoonish supervillainy, Colossus takes offense.
He was a rank amateur compared to Dr. Colossus.
Later in the episode, Colossus is mistakenly released by Wiggum.
Alright, Colossus, you're free to go, but stay away from Death Mountain. All my stuff is there.
Colossus's next appearance is in the 22nd episode of the 7th season, 22 short films about Springfield, which first aired in April 1996. The installment details various incidents experienced by a wide array of Springfield residents in a series of interconnected stories that take place over the course of a single day.
Free nose jobs for everybody! Yeah, you first.
Give me a Van Heflin.
In one such story, Lisa gets gum stuck in her hair, and numerous people attempt to help her. In one scene, Colossus can be seen in the background, presumably after he attempted, but, like everyone else, failed to help her with her problem.
Yuck, smell like a sandwich.
As of May 2023, this marks the last time Colossus has appeared in the Simpsons universe, at least canonically. Strangely, although Colossus has starred in a number of canonical Simpsons episodes, the vast majority of his appearances and most of his character development have been in non-canonical mediums such as video games, concept episodes, and comic books. In regards to video games, Colossus appears briefly in the 2001 release The Simpsons Road Rage. Colossus also appears in the 2012 game The Simpsons Tapped Out, in which his lair Death Mountain can be seen. In terms of concept episodes, Colossus briefly appears in the 22nd installment of the 11th season, Behind the Laughter, which first aired in May 2000. The episode is a parody of the VH1 series Behind the Music and serves as a mockumentary of The Simpsons. At one point in the installment, an image of Colossus can be seen in reference to the ever-expanding secondary cast of characters on the show. Colossus later appears in the first episode of the 13th season of Family Guy, entitled The Simpsons Guy, when the series did a crossover with The Simpsons, which first aired in September 2014. In one scene, Homer and Peter put on a car wash, during which Colossus can be seen waiting in line to be served. Of all the mediums in which Colossus has been a part of, comics are where he's made the most appearances. Moreover, it's the place where he's been mostly fleshed out as a character. Colossus first appeared in The Simpsons comics in the 31st issue released in June 1997 in the story Radioactive Homer. In the installment, Homer dresses as Radioactive Man for a masquerade party. During the event, Homer encounters Colossus, which soon leads to Homer believing that he's actually a superhero. In November 2000, Colossus appeared in the 64th issue of The Simpsons comic in the story Judge Marge. In the installment, Marge gets a job as a TV judge, during which he oversees a case involving Colossus. His appearance is only brief, but the sequence is noteworthy for introducing his mother. In November 2001, Colossus appeared in the 6th issue of the Bart Simpsons comic series in the story The Super Cat of Springfield. In the installment, the Simpsons cat, Snowball 2, becomes a superhero, which soon makes her the target of Colossus, as he wants to use her to power his giant robot, the Destructocat 3000. In the end, Colossus is arrested. A few months later, in February 2002, Colossus appears in the 67th issue of the Simpsons comic series in the story The Abominable Dr. Colossus. In the installment, Colossus is deemed to no longer be a danger to society and is released from prison. In response, Colossus sets about wreaking havoc on Springfield in order to prove the authorities wrong and reassure himself that he is indeed dangerous, though his plans inevitably backfire. Colossus's next appearance is in the June 2002 Simpsons comic, the 71st issue of the series, in the story The Simpsons Sideshow Sibling Smackdown. In the installment, Sideshow Bob's brother, Cecil, is released from prison due to a technicality and ends up moving into Colossus's old house. In December 2004, Colossus appeared in the 21st issue of the Bart Simpsons comic series in the story Batter Out Bart. In the installment, Professor Frink becomes the new coach for the Springfield Little Taupes children's baseball team. Predictably, he uses his scientific skills to invent various technology to win games. However, the team's success is soon disrupted when they come up against the West Springfield Atomic Bombs, whose coach is Colossus. In the issue, Colossus's full name is revealed to be Hector von Colossus, and that he and Frink are arch rivals due to their history, which dates back to their college years. In June 2007, Colossus appeared in the 37th issue of the Bart Simpsons comic series in the story The Teninator. In the installment, Colossus makes everyone in Springfield 10 years old, which triggers Bart's superhero alter ego Bartman into action. In January 2006, Colossus appeared in the 114th issue of the Simpsons comic in the story The Maggie and Moe Mysteries, M is for Seconia. In the installment, a number of Springfield citizens get locked into the town's museum after a theft as they determine who the criminal is. Understandably, Colossus is one of the suspects. Given all the appearances in the various Simpson-themed comics, it's clear that those behind the publications are big fans of Colossus, even if the wider Simpsons community isn't. Still, the relatively few everyday fans that Colossus has are dedicated, so much so that there have been a number of unlikely tributes to him outside of the Simpsons universe. For the 2007 game Team Fortress 2, Colossus's fans showed their respect for the character in the form of an aesthetic update. For the character The Medic, there's a community-created cosmetic tribute, the Colossal Cranium, which gives the Team Fortress character a bald, clean-shaven head and a pair of team-colored operating goggles. And in 2014, a group of Australian musicians formed a metal band which they named Dr. Colossus. In addition to their name, the band frequently makes references to The Simpsons with lyrics and titles in tribute to the iconic TV series, such as their 2021 album, which pays respect to one of Moe's classic lines from the Bart's Nightmare segment from the second installment of the Treehouse of Horror series.
I'm a stupid moron with an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt.
For a character with such a distinct look and personality, it's odd that, as of May 2023, it's been years since Colossus last appeared in the show, especially because they had the perfect opportunity to reintroduce him in the late 2000s with the success of the 2010 films Super and Kick-Ass, both of which detailed the misadventures of average people who decide they could be superheroes just because they want to be.
Shut up, crime.
With this in mind, Colossus would have made for an interesting nemesis for Homer's superhero alter ego.
Hey, look, is that Dad? Either that or Batman's really let himself go.
In the 19th episode of the 15th season, Simple Simpson, which first aired in May 2004, fans were introduced to Springfield's vigilante Pie Man, who Homer creates after Lisa loses a pie contest.
I murdered your father.
Ultimately, Pie Man is more annoying than dangerous, but it would have been interesting to see him go up against someone with real-life supervillain capabilities as Colossus, given that Pie Man's only real talent is hitting people with pies, and Colossus's inventions always seem to backfire. Ultimately, Colossus holds one of the weirdest places in the Simpsons universe. With his distinct appearance and the iconic scenes he's been in, he's instantly recognizable. Yet, he hasn't proven to be a big fan favorite. Still, he is, or at least was, a clear favorite of the comic book writing staff, given that they included him in so many instances. As a result, Colossus holds the unusual distinction of having almost all his character development being done in various comic book series associated with the TV show, which means that all his relatively detailed backstory is technically non-canon. So, strangely, this makes Colossus one of the most iconic, relatively well-developed secondary characters who's interesting enough to revolve a number of stories around, yet inexplicably has been criminally underused in the Simpsons TV universe. And unfortunately, it looks like it might just stay that way.
Shut up, crime.